This teacher and TikTok star danced her way into getting millions of views on social media. This teacher and TikTok star danced her way into getting millions of views on social media.
As far as his teaching go, I am unreachable. I'm number one in your top 10.
Audrianna Williams and her cheer team became an overnight hit.
You in my business? Don't do that.
But her alleged business is out there now after Williams was accused of having multiple sexual encounters with a student. The Shade Room has the warrant, and we're learning more about the student involved, where these alleged sex crimes took place, and what you can do to protect your kids from possible abuse.
Baby.
We in here, yeah, we in here, 'cause we been.
Y'all better get comfortable with saying black.
We in here, yeah, we in here.
Black versus the Board of Education.
'Cause we came here, real of us now. We in here, yeah, we in here. 'Cause we came here, real of us now. And you know that we know that we're going to what you been here.
That's why we are indeed a whole mood.
That's it.
Not yet, but we here now.
We in here.
Thank you so very much. Welcome to another Monday here on Black versus the Board of Education. My name is Miss Laureen, and we welcome you into this space. Yo, it's already going down, and we haven't even gotten to introductions. So today's episode is called From TikTok to Handcuffs. You saw the story at the top of the hour. I'm sure you guys have a lot of opinions about what you saw. What we will say at this point is that our commentary is based on alleged acts. So we are not saying she did or didn't do something. We just going to talk about what's in the news. I am very disappointed. And with that, I am going to push it over to you. You introduce yourself and then y'all follow suit. Yeah.
My name is Quinessa, and I'm excited to get into today's topic.
Why you look at Jalen like that? Oh my God.
What's going on here?
Oh,
Feel that
shots
in my-
fired already. Man.
You know, my name is Jalen, but I just gotta address some quick couple things. Okay.
Nice.
There's just a lot of animosity in here, and it starts with this man right here. Adrian, if this is the biggest rivalry week of my life, Lions versus 49ers for the NFC Championship. The winner goes to the Super Bowl. He's a Niners fan. I'm a Lions fan.
You're liners?
Because they're liars.
Okay, stop. Go. You.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Keela. Like Quinessa said, I'm ready to talk about this topic and maybe throw a few shots at Jalen.
You shooting at Jalen. Dang, Jalen, it's a hostile work environment.
I'm going through it.
Come on, introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, my name is Adrian. Don't have much to say right now. I'm sure I will later
Oh Lord.
with Jalen talking.
You guys are haters.
Go Niners.
Oh wow. Miss Anaya.
Hey everyone, my name's Anaya. I'm currently a freshman at Howard University. Glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. And rounding us out is always the baby of the bunch. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Miss Lady.
Hi everyone, my name is Melissa. I am a senior in high school, and today's topic should be interesting.
It absolutely should. And before we get started with the topic, you had some more news last week.
seen
You
that.
just got into USC.
Fight on.
Yeah,
Right on.
I got into USC, so I have a lot of decisions to make. Lots of decisions to make.
That is amazing, and we are so very proud of you. I just wanted to let you know that. But we're not going to keep belaboring the point. Y'all saw the story at the top of it. Okay. So when the pandemic let up and kids were finally going back to school, I reposted that video over and over again because I liked it. I was like, wow, some Black teachers, they're doing some, they're taking it a step further. They're incorporating some hip hop and, they're welcoming kids back to school. And we always talk to you guys about teachers, care, compassion, and concern. And I was excited about her. And there was one other teacher who was also in the video as they were dancing with the cheer team. Now, of course, we didn't know what would happen later, but I loved the video and I was posting it. And then the other day I happened to be scrolling on social media. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah. And so if you're just joining us, we're talking about From TikTok to Handcuffs. This popular Georgia cheerleading coach went viral for her antics, inviting kids back to school. She has now resigned her position. She was arrested and charged with 2 counts of sexual assault of a student. And yeah, what's popping? I mean, what say y'all? Because I mean, I'm looking at it probably from the perspective of an advocate who goes into schools and who protects children, but also I'm looking at it as a parent. But y'all are closer to this young person's age who is the alleged victim, right? What are y'all thinking when you see this type of thing come about? What's the first thing that comes to mind, Quinessa?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is that I'm not surprised because this is something we've seen time and time again romanticized in media. The teacher-student relationship is like this sexy thing that people want to see. And like once that's gone, then I'll be surprised by seeing actual news stories.
Interesting. I've never thought of that. Jalen, first thing comes to mind, and tread lightly because the ladies are ready to pounce. So tread lightly.
Wait, but I agree with Quinessa when in the standpoint of is been romanticized.
Why do y'all say that?
Because you go on the media, you go on TV shows. What's the most popular trope is the student. She's always by a certain student trying to quote unquote groom a student, and it's you see that a lot in media.
Where y'all saw that?
It's a lot of TV. No, it's a lot of TV shows.
Really? Okay, I don't watch TV.
A lot of older, like even older TV shows. It went under the rug, but like now they're just becoming more out about it, and they actually have a whole show dedicated to the student-teacher relationship. I've seen it on TikTok. Yeah, I don't remember what it's called, but they have.
It's called The Teacher. It's on Hulu, and it's the only one that actually the end of their relationship showcases the fact that that student was a victim and was hurt by that relationship. But like Pretty Little Liars is a good example, which is a teen like advertised TV show, and that couple was endgame. Like they ended up together in the end, married with a baby, and they met when that student was only 17.
I'm out of the loop.
My mom wouldn't let me watch that show for that reason.
Tell me what came to mind for you.
Well, backstory. I went to a high school that this happened at. So, like you said,
Really?
I'm not surprised, but it's gross. It's nasty. I could never. Yeah.
Interesting. Huh. Adrian, what do you think?
I think it's disgusting. I agree with what Quinessa and Jalen said. I think it is romanticized, mainly because not only with the media, but also because half of the time, especially with young men, they don't realize they're victims. And that's due to the manipulation that comes from being groomed by a teacher. So half the time, it's like these young students, they are excited that they get the opportunity to sleep with the teacher. They're telling their friends, they're bragging about it. So it's hard for society to deem it as wrong as something else when the victims aren't seeing it that way.
Anaya.
Okay, so I was shocked because I did know about like the cheer coach, like they were viral on TikTok at times, but also I thought it was like weird and nasty, obviously because like the obvious reason it's just weird. Think about how that relationship is romanticized in like films and TV. But
Melissa.
I definitely agree with what everyone is saying, especially about it being romanticized. And I feel like we see that a lot more, like when you, like in media, but especially between like college students and professors. And I feel like that's where it kind of gets mixed up in like if you see that in media, especially with there are students and there are younger people who are on social media who see different things, and that kind of like skews everything. I mean, we've talked about this before. Media and social media and TV, none of it is real. And so we kind of mix everything up, but I think it's disgusting. And it's not just obviously college students and professors, even though that is talked about. It is high school students and their teachers as well. It's grooming, and it is disgusting. And I don't want to say I was shocked, because it's obviously not the first situation like this that we've seen, but it's horrible and it shouldn't happen at all.
Yeah, and I think I was shocked for the simple fact is I don't expect us to be doing that. And by us, I mean Black people. I just don't. I don't expect to see that. I don't. I would think that we are more relational and we would protect our children more because of how I've seen us show up, right? So I was taken aback by that because when we were coming up, Mama put it in the chat, Miss Tawana put it in the chat, it was Mary Kay Letourneau and Villy, right? 12 years old. She was married, had other children, and she's messing with this 12-year-old. And so she went on to be arrested. She had a baby, I want to say, when she was in jail. She got out. They told her to stay away from him. She ended up getting pregnant a second time. And I'm trying to figure out where the disconnect is in the brain of some of these grown people and why they feel they need to mess with children. So as a student, how would you react if you learned that a teacher you trusted was involved in a situation like this? Keela.
How would I feel?
Yep. And I need you to get in the microphone, please.
So yeah, like I told you guys, this has happened in a classroom that I was in, and like looking back, I like see the signs of like how it happened because he would bring his kids into the classroom, and like this particular girl was like always playing with the kids and all that stuff. And you know, everyone likes kids, whatever, but like I'm not gonna go to a kid during my class time in health worrying about somebody else's kids. So like looking back, I think definitely was very uncomfortable because I like watched it unleash. So I think it's disgusting.
Let me ask you a question. You watched it unleash. Did you ever tell anybody what you saw?
No.
Why?
Only because, like I said, like looking during that time, I didn't really see an issue. But like now that I'm older and realizing what grooming is and just interacting with people like that, I would now if I seen it. But yeah, like I said before, I really didn't think anything of it. And that's sad to say, honestly.
Yeah. Jalen, what do you think?
Can you ask the question again?
Absolutely. As a student, how would you react if you learned that a teacher you trusted was involved in a situation like this?
I'd be disappointed personally, because if it's a teacher that I trusted, that means that I would go to them, because one thing about me, teachers that I trust, I still hold relationships with to this day. So that would mean that this is somebody that would be around my family, and like when we would go to like open house or something like that, that I would spend most of my time in their class, so they would get to meet my family and they would have a conversation with my family and things like that. And I will put my trust and be like, okay, this person really has the best interest of me at heart. And for them to break my trust like that, it would hurt personally.
Okay. Anaya.
Yeah, I agree. Disappointed. I would be disturbed and then also concerned for the actual student, because I'm assuming if we're in high school, we're close in age. But definitely really disturbed by the teacher, because why are you interested in someone that young? Yeah.
Okay. And so, you know, I'm looking at it and I'm listening to what you guys are saying, and you're talking about, and when we started this podcast, we talked about discipline, the over discipline of students, the differential between the power dynamics, right? And so I'm wondering, and anybody can jump in because I don't know you guys' specific experiences on campuses. However, have you ever felt like a teacher was coming on to you?
Yes.
Talk to me.
So I remember, not to throw in race, but just like I'm a Black girl, obviously, whatever. And a lot of the Asians would dress a certain way and they would never get like dress coded or anything. And I remember I'm tall, so I wore.
You can say you thick. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah, she was trying to keep it under wraps, but you can
like,
talk to him.
I remember like I wore shorts and it was definitely arm's length, and I'm taller, so it's definitely taller. And I got dress coded, and like he like touched my like waist, kind of like he was like, yeah, this is too short. It's like here, but I would think you would touch here, obviously at my shorts and where they cut off. So, and like even going back to like my high school, and I still see.
So you felt that they were coming on to you because they touched you there?
just-
Did he say, was it in his demeanor?
I mean, just any interaction I've had with him after that, I've caught him staring at me. I've caught him looking at my friends, and just, it was just very weird. And I even go back to my high school and I still see him, and I still see him looking at me like
Oh,
that.
you're going to have to tell me who that is, because I'll be at your high school too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
interesting. Anybody else have he should not have touched you at all. I agree with Ms.
Oh, I
Tawana.
told my mom.
I didn't. My best friend did. There was like multiple instances of like one of the TAs we had like creating situations to be alone with her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had a crush on him too, and so she would come back to me and she would tell me what he said, and like this is another instance of like,
this was an adult.
Yes. Of the the trauma that romanticizing this kind of relationship can have, because we thought that that was good, so we would celebrate all of these instances of him creating like situations where they could be by themselves. And it would be like, oh, he touched my shoulder today, oh, he was rubbing my arms today, like so, but we didn't know.
Yeah, because you were children. Yeah. And I can think back, I was a student at Kit Carson Middle School, and I can remember I was working on like some sort of math test, and trust me, I was really good at math. And every time that I finished the worksheet, he would mark it all up and tell me to do it over. And so I redid it because I couldn't understand what I got wrong. And he was like, you're going to need to stay after class. And like, just like leaning over me, making sure his private part was by my arm. And I remember one of my uncles had to come and get me from school, because I was just like, I don't want to stay after school with this person. You get the kind of heebie-jeebies. And I remember telling my uncle what happened, and he stopped the car, and he pulled over, stopped the car, and went right back into that school trying to find that it was actually a substitute teacher. And I just remember like, what in their minds makes them feel like it's okay, to approach a student in that way, to be in their space, encroach upon their space like that, and get mad when the kids are like, that doesn't seem right. But I went and told immediately, right? And so I'm wondering, with what's going on, and I hear that there are videos of the two of them, this teacher and this student, on TikTok. I didn't see them. But they're saying that they're on TikTok, and they met up at a gas station and at a bowling alley. Now we're talking about a married teacher. She just had her first baby, like I want to say last year. And I'm trying to figure out what you guys think. Because there's no rhyme or reason. Like, I mean, I don't expect you to have all the right answers, but what do you think about, should she be facing charges if the conduct is deemed to be true? At this point, it's alleged. I don't know how, when, where, but at this point, it's alleged. Do you think this teacher should face charges? And if so, what types of things do you think they should be lumping in, Melissa?
I don't see a reason why, if we find out that it is true, that she wouldn't face any charges. That's grooming, that's sexual assault or harassment, even if, because I'm assuming, or not assuming, but I know that the child or student was 17, the age of consent is 18. And even then, there's still an age gap that makes that not okay. So there absolutely should be charges.
Adrian?
I do think there should be charges. I don't know the age of the student.
Age of consent in the state of Georgia is 16 years.
That's nasty.
Just so we know. Yep. So the age of consent is 16. This student is 17.
Okay.
Do you think that this teacher should be facing charges? Should we find these alleged interactions took place?
I will say yes, because even if he is of the age of consent, even if he was 18, it was still they still met at the school. He was still a student at the school. She was still an employee of the school. And so there was still a power dynamic in play where she had more power than him in that relationship and should not have seen him outside of school, regardless of whether or not their relationship was romantic or sexual.
What do you think, Adrian? I know you were thinking.
Yeah, that was pretty much the answer I was going to come up with. I think the power imbalance weighs heavily into it, just because we don't know. First of all, as a teacher, we don't know what benefits he got from her being his teacher. As far as advantage over other students, or that whole thing. And we don't know how the relationship formed, so we don't know in what way did she come at him to where the relationship should start?
Or did he come at her?
That's what I was just about to say.
I'm asking. Like, what is it about this? And I understand. Well, allegedly he plays football, right? So I'm trying to figure out if yeah. There's some sort of what is it? Arrested development sometimes when we put ourselves in these particular places, schools, whatever. There's something about certain people that people are attracted to. Sometimes women, we want to be next to the popular people. We want to be next to the people we think the proximity of power is what they call it, right? I don't know how you justify that with a child, but I digress. Do you like? I'm trying to make sense of it. Even if a child was to flirt with a grown woman, your response should never be like, "Oh yeah, he thinks I'm cute. Oh my God, he talked to me." Like what?
Yeah,
that's the high school response.
And I also want to add on to his point with the you don't know how that relationship developed, because when we go back to how romanticized it is, you usually see the trope of, oh, I'm failing, but the teacher be like, okay, stay after class and I can quote unquote help you get your grade up type thing. And so then it goes back to the advantages. Like, did the student get advantages because of this relationship? Did he really not do the work, but because he did other work, he got the grade?
Bruh.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I feel you though. I understood what you were saying though.
So
I'm picking up what you're dropping down.
It's like because when we really when she said that, I really thought about it. Like, you really see that often.
Yeah,
you really see that often, and but when that, and like you usually see it with the girl student and the guy teacher be like, oh, teacher, how can I stay after class to get? Well, the finals are next weekend. I have a D, but how can I get a B?
But I don't even think it's always with like that, like gender combination, because now there's been a trend of teachers recreating interactions that they see on TikTok of the teacher who flirts with the athletes.
I've seen that too. Yeah.
I
know I've seen that too.
And I had one of those teachers at my school who was always, why are you in my room?
I know.
Why are you in my room? Go back to class. Oh my God. Like,
I know exactly what video you're talking about. Yes. And that people were calling her out for it, because it's like they not seeing it, but when you get to a certain age and you see what you're actually looking for, you're like, wait, that tone of voice, you shouldn't be having that. It's like the tone of voice, it's the smile, it's the head.
They're flirting.
Yes. And it's like, you like
with kids.
Yeah. And it's like, and it's own. And
like,
then the thing about it is, it's when you're in that class, you can see it, because it's like you're only doing it with the athletes, or you're only doing it with a certain amount of people or a certain group of people. And it's only, and the students will know. They'll be like, okay, this teacher,
you're not dumb.
Yeah, like this teacher, if you're a football player in this school, and this teacher will pass you, even if you don't do the class, even if you don't do the work, she'll pass you just because she likes football players. I seen that at my school firsthand.
I've seen that as well.
I seen that at my school firsthand.
So if you're just joining us, we're talking about from TikTok to Handcuffs, the teacher who went viral on social media some years ago with her back to school rap after the pandemic let up. She was arrested recently on 2 counts of sexual assault with a child and something else. I'll have to find the exact charges because I know I have them somewhere in these papers. But she was allowed to resign, you guys.
I seen that a week before
Um,
she got well, no, like a week and a half before she got
Now I
arrested.
read that her daddy was a principal. I don't know if he was principal of that school,
Oh Lord.
but he's a principal. And her husband is some sort of police officer.
Oh Lord.
And she was allowed to resign instead of them terminating her.
Red flag.
No, and I seen that they had the little
Red flag.
thing that said we approve her resignation
Yeah.
unanimously.
Uh-huh.
So what changes since she's allowed to resign versus her getting terminated?
Well, I mean, I would love that answer too. But what I assume is that the retirement and stuff stays in place. You don't lose that. What I assume is that she may be able to cash out her vacation and sick leave days. I don't know. I mean, if anybody knows that answer, please put it in the chat. But you also don't have that scarlet letter on your resume. You know what I mean? In lieu of being fired, because when you're fired, there's a whole different type of process. And so I don't know. What are you thinking? You said you said red flag. Why?
I mean, just like, why are you allowed to do that?
Why
Like,
did you have the option?
that? And like, yeah, like, why did you get a pass?
Do you think the school was trying to like keep it under wraps?
Even if
Because
you,
if they were to fire her, would that have caused more
It looks-
attention?
Maybe
it looks bad. You're getting attention, period. But I could see what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up because I want to see if her dad is
Because
actually.
I think it's the same thing that we talk about all the times when we see like when we talk about all these like police beatings, and we always say, well, why did the police force allow him to resign instead of going in and firing him? I think it's the same thing in play here. It's like a optics thing. It's she went out because of her on her own terms instead of letting them
catch
her. She like it's all alleged, of course, but she did something allegedly, and she's like, okay, well, I'm taking the power into my own hands.
Okay, if you want to put it in that perspective too, then I feel like a lot of people do that because they're guilty.
Absolutely.
So,
and that's what I'm saying. She wants to go out on her own terms instead of letting people be like, okay, well, we found you, we caught you.
So if she doesn't end up getting charged, would she be able to teach again?
I think so.
I
Because
think
I seen in the article it said that they have the power to revoke her license.
No, her dad is
yeah.
not the principal of that.
I'm
school.
sorry. If
teaching
you could
credentials.
allege to do anything with the child, why are you in a school?
That's a great question.
Why are you in the school?
And that goes
'Cause
for
I'm-
sexual assault, regular assault. You don't know how to treat children. You should not be in schools. But go ahead.
Yeah, like just even like even I'm not a parent, but as a parent, I would not send my kid to that school. Like, what?
Well, what will happen is they will look and ask around if she's done this with any other children, right?
Yeah.
And then that might open a can of worms. Well, if she's not the only one,
Then
how
it's a
many? You know what I
whole-
mean? Like it's a far reach. It might be a far-reaching problem, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that first of all, I think allowing her to resign is what systems do to protect their people.
Yep.
And again, if she's found not guilty or she's not charged, she'll be back. Just like a lot of these officers, right, who are found not guilty, they resume their jobs.
And this is the second one I seen this week. I seen another one where it was
Second teacher?
Yeah, it was another. It was another high school teacher, but the only difference is somebody told the parent of the student, his dad. Somebody told his dad what was going on, and he said something like, "Oh, I already know, and it is what it is." So now they're charging the dad with negligence, or it was something like that. Yeah.
I mean, if you were able or ever to do a Google search, and I just typed in like teachers arrested for relationships with students, since October, there are way too many.
That's why it's not shocking though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like-
it's not.
It seems like we just letting anybody come in contact with our children.
Yeah.
And just like
And,
anybody.
and
can
I'm
just do that.
concerned.
Yeah.
Is it mostly girls with young boys or is it mixed?
Well, what I'm seeing, it's a bunch of women. Yeah.
Like lately,
Yeah.
headlines have been women.
Yeah, and
where's the disconnect? Because I don't know. I'm at the age I'm trying to have somebody taking care of me and paying stuff and me go sit down somewhere.
And okay, and that's what
you just
Yeah.
now. I mean,
That's-
you
yeah,
barely
that's your-
starting your adulthood. What can you do for me?
that's
Yeah,
what I had
we
said. I was like, me personally, if I can't go and get a drink with you, you are too young for me. So what is this little boy, respectfully, gonna do for me? Nothing.
It's the thrill.
That's a nasty.
Show me
thrill.
the thrill.
That
Where?
is a nasty thrill.
Melissa, why you make that face? What happened?
Because I don't even know what I'm supposed to say. Like,
I know.
there's nothing to say. I'm 17. That's
And
horrible.
if this would have happened with you, you best believe I'd have been on a plane somewhere. We'd be having a whole conversation. Me and your mama rolling up.
Like that's disgusting. And the fact that she might be able to teach again, I don't even want to think about that because that's horrible. I don't even know what to say because there's nothing you can say. This shouldn't happen. And we said that how you said earlier, how are we letting these people teach our kids? But if they don't have any prior offenses or anything in that category at all, they're just horrible people and that could be their first offense. Like, how do we know?
We don't know, especially if they move states. We don't know what they've been up to. Absolutely. Pose a question. Don't make nobody mad.
I'm not gonna make nobody mad. I'm asking a question.
You see, Miss Tawana said I would have to bail her out of jail first.
Okay, so do we think that it's more socially I can't even say acceptable, but it's more, but let's just for the
You say acceptable.
Yes, so more socially acceptable for it to be a girl teacher and a young
a female teacher?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you mean by socially acceptable? I want you to what is the definition you have for socially acceptable? Like as far as like we will allow it,
I think
or
he
like
means
we will expect it. What's
not
happening?
expected, but the outrage wouldn't be as big once we found out.
Yes. Yes.
So say for instance, this story was
If
a
it was
male.
flipped.
This male was 31, and then the student was the 12th grader.
I think that the outrage isn't as big because it goes back to what Adrian said about young men not seeing themselves as victims of sexual assault when they have sex with women or have relationships with women that are older.
Well, you can say when you have sex because the thing is they have the organ that goes inside. And so it is not deemed that they are being made to do something against their will because they actually, I can't think of a different term and forgive me. They get hard.
Yeah.
Right. And so that means they must be aroused. And so that means that they wanted it to happen. And so they initiated it because men are aggressive and, they make women do things that they don't want to do allegedly. And so it is more acceptable because they are the ones that really do all the work.
And I think that like we as a society don't see like psychological manipulation as a form of assault, which is what it was.
Right. Right. And I agree with you 100%. But the assumption from people, like there's some men that would give that dude a high five. You know what I mean?
No, so let Jalen speak real quick.
Jalen really gave him a high five? Wait a minute, hold on. Anaya?
Yeah, side eye.
Look at you said
side eye. Side eye.
So what you gonna say? What?
I wasn't gonna say nothing. I'm just posing the question. Huh?
No, answer my question. So you would is it more acceptable to you to where you saw or y'all be on campuses, right? Mm-hmm. And you heard something like this happening, you gonna give him a high five?
Yes.
Why?
Because no, like if this was my friend and I found that out.
No.
Wait, we're talking about now.
Now.
Oh,
I said now.
Now. Oh, nah, because I know too much now.
Okay.
But back then as a student, 100% I give him a high five.
Bruh.
Back in high school, if this happened, if I found out about this in high school, because that's just that
I would do the same.
Because that's the romanticization of that relationship.
So like you filled your fantasy?
That
You
was
did
the-
your
yeah.
fantasy. You
I didn't.
I'm
He
saying,
did.
I'm saying, as the friend of the friend that did that, you're like, oh, okay, good job, bruh. Like, you
Yeah,
did
like,
that.
I
that's
You did
guarantee
your
you that's
big
on their
one.
bucket list.
No, like that's hard.
On a bucket list.
I'm telling
Yeah.
you, it's like the amount that we see it.
I need to dismiss myself.
No, the amount that we see it in like media, other media, the dark media, we call it
Say porn.
Okay, we see that all the time. And
I said the dark media. wait, is this black people? Is this melanated media? Like, what are we talking about?
No, but like, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like, and not to
agree with me.
say all men,
Okay.
but I think a lot of boys would say that answer.
Yeah.
Because if you look at I think the number one porn category right now is MILFs. So
Sex.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
when you're growing up, especially in high school, given the opportunity, a lot of young men would take it just to say they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Keela.
Yeah.
So, as a whole, I feel like we need to do better because that is not okay.
No, 100%.
I'm just saying though, like
100%.
even as you said, like if you were back then,
Yeah.
you would have said that.
Yes.
That is horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's true.
But it's very
It's
true.
true, but that's what I'm saying. It goes to we need to.
But it's on the adults to make it not.
That's right.
To-
And
Yes.
that's what I'm saying.
That's
As,
right.
as an
That's
adult
right.
now,
Yeah.
we need to stop that.
100%.
Well, we're not doing that.
No, yeah.
I know, but
Right.
I'm
You
just
know what I
saying,
mean? Like the expectation is that we're not
Yes.
doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's because it's you can't even put it like because it should be on that teacher to know that's not acceptable.
First of all, it shouldn't even be a thought that crosses their mind.
Thank you.
Period.
Yes.
yeah.
It shouldn't be a thought. If you find yourself attracted to children, you are a pedophile.
Period.
Mhm.
That's what it is.
Facts.
And so I don't understand why some people get passes and other people don't. There should be no passes given.
Yes.
Like at some point, we're going to have to expect more of people that we are putting into
These schools.
the school system.
Mhm.
Because this is just one facet of it. We look at the disproportionate discipline facet of it all the time.
Yep.
There are too many people in positions of power who don't have the best interests of our children at heart.
100%.
Yeah.
And we have to actually acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Some people that are in our schools should not be in our schools because some of them are trying to relive their high school days.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They trying to
that?
relive their
Oh,
glory
my
days when they
goodness.
were popular. Sis, go sit down.
Go sit down.
No, it's
go eat your
crazy.
lunch.
It's not your time.
Go
no
eat your
more.
lunch in the teacher
No,
lounge.
it is like
Like-
that is now
like,
that might be one of the
stop it.
truest things I
Yes.
heard because man, you see them teachers try to be in the stands with the kids in the football games, like trying to jump up and down and stuff. Like you supposed to be watching the kids. You supposed
Well,
to be watching the kids.
they can't participate.
Nah, but it's different, and it's like you're there to do a job to watch and make sure and monitor kids, but
Mhm.
then you're trying to relive your high school days through these kids. And,
Yeah.
and it's like, man,
It's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
And I need people to grow up. If we're sitting here and we're saying that we want what's best for children, we got to grow up ourselves. We can't be acting like we one of these kids.
mm-hmm.
We can't do it. I expect more from adults.
Yeah, and that's just and like you said, that's just one facet of it because we was having another conversation too. Like that's just that, and then you also have the teachers that's like, okay, you're a 16-year-old, but once you turn 18, holla at me. You also have them type of teachers too, you know.
Yeah,
So
I'm sure you do.
and it's like,
I'm sure you do.
yeah,
And it reminds me because you guys know that singer Mario, right?
Yes.
So when I used to work on the radio station, Mario was just coming out. He was about 16. I was super grown. And he came up to me, and, you know, these little boys be flirting sometimes. And I remember I'm like, boy, go play. And he was like, well, I'll be 18. You're not gonna say that when I turn 18. I said, when you turn 18, you know, holler at me. But we're not talking today. Like, you know, because they think that because they are seen as popular, that everybody is gonna go for whatever. And I couldn't be rude because that was my job to literally be nice to the talent, right?
yeah,
Instead of telling them scat, right? And it's just so interesting that the lines are blurred now. And I don't know if COVID affected everybody's brains, but the lines are super blurred now. And I don't understand how we move forward from something like this. What happens? She was the cheer coach. That means she had a whole bunch of young girls that looked up to her, that she was teaching certain things, that were at her house and, seeing different ways that she was moving. And this act allegedly happened. However, this was somebody that these girls looked to, right? How do you maintain relationships when there has been a breach of trust?
How do you maintain them?
Or do you?
You got to rebuild it. If any, well, first you
Well,
would
like
have
with
to
that
rebuild.
certain teacher.
Yeah. That was their coach.
Yeah, you have
And
to.
she was a teacher on campus. And she's been there for a while. And this is somebody that they saw as a mother figure. You know what I mean? Maybe for some of them as a big sister, maybe the older girls as a big sister type. How do you reconcile what happened and maintain or rebuild the trust in those relationships? Or can you?
I think there's certain situations where like you just gotta eat it. Like you messed up, you don't get to rebuild that. That's the consequence of your action. Like you don't get to earn that trust back.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to accept that. And they shouldn't want her trust back. Those students' parents shouldn't want their kids to trust her again.
Mm-hmm.
And then does she have the opportunity? I think the question really should be like, does she have the opportunity to rebuild relationships elsewhere? But I think in this location with these people, it's got to be a wrap.
I agree.
You agree too?
Yeah, because like there's just certain things that it's hard to come back from. It's hard to come back from. You're looking up to somebody, and this is somebody who's supposed to be giving you game and how to carry yourself, but then is doing the exact opposite. Because then you got to look at it like, was all the stuff that they were telling me, was that trying to lead me down the same path as them? Was it really trying to set me up instead of trying to build me up?
Mm-hmm.
And all those type of things go into your head when you put that much trust in somebody and they let you down, and it's because it's more so a disappointment because they let you down.
Right.
Yeah.
It's you were supposed to be, like you said, the mother figure, big sister figure, somebody who is supposed to be a mentor that's going to help me ascend in life, but you are going down. You're trying to tell me what to do, but try to help me build, but then you're doing the exact opposite. You're being a hypocrite, and you're tearing your life down. And it's like, well, are you trying to make me go down the same path as you with you? Those are things that creep in your head.
Melissa?
I wonder if, like, to your question, what if some of those girls who she was like a mentor to don't believe that it's true?
Well,
because
if you look at their comments, there are quite a few people who do not believe
yeah,
it's true.
and that's kind of the side I'm thinking of too. Like agreeing with what both of you guys are saying, but what if they don't believe that it's true? And like Quinessa was saying, she shouldn't be given the opportunity to go back to even have the chance to rebuild those relationships. But what if she does? And because of how close she was with those cheer girls, was or was not close with them, that could have been a form of grooming too, to the point where they are on her side no matter what.
I think about that. That's
I
nice.
don't know.
That's nice.
Keela is about to have a whole
I'm about to be so sad leaving. I think overall, kind of like what you were saying, you kind of just have to eat it. But I don't think she should have the opportunity to go back, because like what Melissa was saying too, like she probably groomed them to thinking, like whatever she do
we
is right.
homies.
Yeah.
What you mean? We ride together.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just think that just sucks all in all for them, because like hopefully, not to say like that, but I don't. Hopefully, they never see her again
Mhm.
because I just think.
But what about people that depend on that? And you guys are mentors.
Yeah,
right?
but
You guys are mentors. You guys have been around kids, for a while. And sometimes people make mistakes.
Yeah.
Is there room for grace and forgiveness, or do we just cut people off because we don't like it?
No. In that
In-
situation, cut it off.
I'm just asking.
In that particular situation, you have no chance to come back. I'm sorry, alleged or not, you don't need to be around
So
children.
even if it's found to be not be true, you said she don't have the.
Okay,
I'm just asking. I don't know.
I feel like it. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. If that comes out about you, you must have been real close with this student, and
or somebody's mad at you.
There's pictures of them at the gas station in the bowling alley. So whether or not they had a relationship, she did something wrong.
yeah, you don't need to see a student, a 17-year-old, however old, outside of school. If you are a teacher, stay in your place. If you are a cheer coach, stay in your place. Yes, you could have, the
boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like it's too much for me personally.
Mhm.
I hope. Yeah, no.
And Melissa looks like she's gonna jump through the screen. So what are you trying to say?
Well, because you were saying if she is found not guilty, and Quinessa said the same thing, that there's evidence that something was inappropriate, that it was an inappropriate relationship. If someone has enough evidence to prove a point and to even get you to the point where there may be charges against you, there was an inappropriate relationship that needs to be addressed.
Okay.
And to that statement, like at the end of all this, there's a victim. There is a 17-year-old boy whose relationships with partners going forward are forever changed,
Mm-hmm.
and who I'm sure everyone in the school knows it's him, even though his name wasn't released publicly.
Of course.
Everyone knows who he is. He's been ostracized publicly in his area. His life will never
Because
be
she's popular.
His life will never be the same. And at the end of this,
And he's not the one who
still
told.
a victim.
Yeah. And he's not the one who told. It was, I think, a friend of his. My
friend
understanding is this, what I read or what I saw, heard, I don't remember. This was the boyfriend of one of the girls on the cheer team.
Because that was nasty too.
And so I'm trying to, I don't know. Again, all this is alleged because we don't want to, nobody saying we trying to tear people down, because that's not the point of this. The point of this is to look at this situation, analyze the situation for what it is based on what we know, right? And then figure out if there's a way to move forward. You said absolutely not. If she's guilty, just like Mama Miss Tawana said, if she's found guilty, she's done.
Yeah.
I tend to err on the side of everybody should get a chance to redeem themselves. However, she doesn't need to go back to that school. There are ways that people need to make amends for the harm that they caused. I believe everybody should have that ability to make amends for the harm that they caused. That does not mean we put them back in the situation they were in. That means that after some time goes by, and there could be, I don't know if it's a letter or something that they're made to draft, or a conversation that they're made, because it wasn't just this young boy, right? You're looking at 3 levels of cheerleaders who have been affected by the decision of this one person. And so I'm not even talking about the criminal side of it, because that's going to be adjudicated. Yeah. I'm talking about the social emotional side of these young girls who had somebody who, and we talk about representation all the time, who looked like them, who held a certain space in their heart, their mind, or their lives. And all of that is taken away because they think either somebody lied or they know that something she did wasn't right. Because they're not thinking about all the things that we're talking about. They're like, I love her. She was good to me. I never saw this. You guys are lying on her. And so you have all this residual effect that she's going to have to contend with at some point based on what she did. And she's going to have to admit that she made a mistake. Well, Miss, how do you make amends when innocent kids are involved? That's what I want to know. Yeah. Yeah. She might not be the one to start the healing for them. The other elders in the community need to step up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that too. I think that it has to be a full approach. But when they are so used to being around this one person and this one person violates the trust, that one person has to apologize, repair, restore at some point. She has to be given or they should be given that opportunity to tell her how her behavior affected them in their trajectory. And it might not be right now, but there has to be something. I don't know if it's a town hall. I don't know how we get these kids to come to terms with what they're seeing, reading on social media, what their lives, what's going on in their everyday lives, and how we move forward to protect them moving forward, right? And those are the things that I think about. Is she wrong? Absolutely wrong. Allegedly, if this happened, absolutely. Should she have known better? Without question. But I think of the kids that will be affected, not the ones involved in this little tryst or this little escapade she had on the side. And then I think about her own child, and I think about her husband, right? None of this is easy. And it was based off of her decision to violate not only the covenant of her marriage, but the sanctity of the student-teacher relationship. Like there's so many layers to it. I just don't know. Yeah, it might take her decades, but somebody at some point, and it doesn't seem like, just based on the response given by her attorney, it doesn't seem like that there's any, like, she just believes she's innocent and she's gonna have her day in court. But we've seen those type of statements all the time. And I think those are just boilerplate statements. And part of me is hoping that it ain't true. But something did happen.
Yeah.
I hope that it didn't go to the point of sexual assault, but something happened.
Yeah.
Because why would people be saying it? Why would you be exactly where these people said you were? Yeah. Why would you be so foolish as to get caught on camera? Like, those are the things that come through my mind. If you're going to do something, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Go ahead, y'all. I mean, because I could keep talking. I could keep talking because it's insane that today we have to contend with adults not allowing children to be children.
Mm-hmm.
That's what pisses me off the most. They don't want children to be children. They want to relive their high school days. They want to be popular. They want to be wanted. They need to go get some grown men with that grown men energy and figure that out. Sounds like low self-esteem. Like I don't understand. I don't have 663,000 people following me on TikTok. I don't even have a TikTok. But what attention are you looking for that you're trying to find it in a child?
I think it's the ability to control. They know, since they're an adult, they can tell them what to do and they'll listen. And especially, with control, especially with the thrill of it, not getting caught. She's
child, you could do that with a grown man.
But she's married to a police officer, and her father's a principal, so I think her life is very structured, in a sense to where she's confined into a structured lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm following you. Don't look at my face.
Don't
look at my face and think that I'm thinking you crazy. That's not what I'm saying.
I think she grew up in a confined schedule, like time and day, like everything was on point. And then with the child, it's like she's finding a way to get out of that. I think even with her making TikToks and her rapping and doing all that, that was her own way of doing something new and exciting for her. And I think she found it in the kid.
Well, I don't know if I feel like it's as you described it, it's her being confined. I think that when you have proximity again to power, you tend to be a line stepper, and you tend to believe that you're untouchable. Especially we see that in many facets in the government and in whatever. When you're connected to the person who holds the power, Principals hold the power on their campuses, right? Or that person, your person is well known in the community. You know that there are certain things that they're not going to allow people to say, do to you, and so you kind of just do what you want. And it's too much. It's too much. Lord have mercy. I be trying to think. I be trying to think. If this was a black man assaulting a
agree
little
with her.
black
I'm
girl,
sorry.
he would
I
be
feel the
hanging. You
same.
100%, 100%. I agree. It was absolutely an abuse of power.
Yeah.
If it happened, we don't want to get sued. Allegedly, this is what happened. It was an alleged abuse of power, and absolutely she should be held accountable for it. Should it be found to be true? But something happened, and her consequence was losing her job. I don't think that people who are innocent resign. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't. I don't believe people who are 100% innocent resign. But people who know that they done some stuff that would be looked at a certain way do. That's just and that's not to say that I haven't resigned from anything, because I have quit jobs before. But it wasn't nothing to do with anything like this, right?
Yeah.
And so if you want people to think you guilty, go ahead and resign. Or go ahead and pay a settlement, Diddy.
I was gonna bring it up. We here with it. We here with it.
If you want people to think you're guilty,
with
that's
it.
what you do. Allegedly.
Yeah.
I just like, not saying this would ever happen to me, but like if something like that were to happen to me, I'm writing it out. You are not like, I did not do that.
I mean, you could place me on leave.
Like,
I think I don't want to be perceived as defending this woman, because I am not. I can understand a resignation, because if I were in a situation where I was being accused of something, whether or not I did it, I would not want to be at that school anymore. Like I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
You don't want me here, I'm gonna go.
oh no, I'll make you uncomfortable because you lied on my name.
Well, and I understand that. But I said the best way to get people to think that you're guilty is to respond in this way. Whether you did it or not, when people make certain decisions, they leave it up to everybody else to come up with their own narrative of what exactly happened. But we know the end result is you quit. You resigned and they didn't fire you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you leave it up to everybody else to come up with their own narrative based on the clips that are floating around social media, what's going on in the shade room, the comment section. I mean, you leave it up to people to draw their own conclusions. And I understand that her attorney says she will not be making any public comments until they have their day in court. And I absolutely understand that, because anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. But if this allegedly happened, there should be some consequences. And I heard the consequences, she could face up to 20 years in prison.
1 to 20 for each charge.
1 to 20?
For each charge.
Okay, and there are 2 charges. So up to 40 years. And so,
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
In this case, how long should they be in jail for? Not even like just this situation.
My understanding, because I've been to court a couple of times, not on my own, but other people, they can run those concurrently. So she would serve 2 sentences at the same time. That could be one of the things. Or she could serve them back to back, but she will get some time for time served. Like she won't end up serving the whole sentence unless it's with life without the possibility of parole.
And then you got the good behavior.
Yeah. So I don't know what is appropriate. And I know this is bad to say, y'all. I want them to treat her like they would treat any white person who was found guilty of this type of thing. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Because they tend to make examples out of black folks.
And especially since she's famous, they probably gonna be like, oh, yeah, we're gonna make an example out of you.
So that's what I want. I want her to be treated like they would somebody they know. But I think she should absolutely face a consequence should this alleged behavior be found to be correct. Anaya, you've been quiet and we're about to wrap up. Do you want to add anything there? I seen you nodding your head.
Okay. Not much to add, but it did pop in my mind, like during the episode, just about what her husband thinks. And you
Yeah.
did say her child's like 1 year old. I was just wondering about them. I know they're not like the main concern, obviously, but that was like, oh, her husband and her child. And plus, like, finding out she was married to a police officer is like, oh, like, I'm assuming they're the same age. What is he, I guess, lacking to where you have to go find someone that young? Like, what's going on there? Like,
But
yeah.
I understand. Melissa, you got some closing thoughts?
It's never about like deeper. It's usually not about what that person is lacking. It is about the person who is doing that. They're in the wrong. It's almost never about what the partner is lacking. Yeah, that's it. I don't have anything else to add.
Don't bring him into this.
Nah. Yeah, but
I mean,
get
and
what
if
you're
you've
saying.
on her social media, she's always when she was about to have her baby, there were a lot of videos of them two, and on the outside you wouldn't know that anything was going on.
That's how they do it, though.
Yeah,
That's how they do it.
I mean, she was super excited to be having a child, and he was super excited, first kid for both of them, and it's just very interesting. What you mean they wasn't happy?
I know that game.
What game is
I
that?
know that game.
You post your whole life on social.
Couples on social
Come on
media
now.
are the least happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Apparently, people don't know I'm married, so I guess I'm doing
Come
good.
on now.
Period.
Come on now. You don't. When you flaunt you married, you not happy. When you keep posting couple pictures, you're not happy.
But like, I just feel like social media is such a new thing for people. Like, not to bring up a whole different topic, but like the gypsy thing.
Gypsy
Like,
Rose.
Yeah, like she is popping off on
Hey,
social
wait.
media. She need to be
She's
quiet.
popping off.
Yeah, she's back.
She need to
But
be
my whole
quiet.
thing about that,
She need
this
to
is what
shut
I
up.
don't. This is what I don't like about
Well,
this. She
double
said,
jeopardy. She can't be retried.
I don't like how she came out and said, "I don't feel like I'm a murderer."
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I don't like that.
You didn't need to say.
Yeah,
don't
okay.
like that.
Wait.
She's
Let's
not.
not go into that topic
She's
right now
not.
because the teacher didn't murder nobody.
Okay, my fault.
This is
That's
TikTok
yeah,
and
no,
handcuffs.
I was saying that to say the
seen
whole
that.
social media aspect thing. Like,
Yeah.
like people
wanted
that post
I
on social
thought-
media is like not happy.
I tied it in because I seen it on TikTok.
You better shut up.
Okay, well that's not. I'm just saying, like,
Well, okay.
what?
Oh my gosh.
But no,
You're
yeah,
right.
that's
You're
what I
right.
was.
That's what
saying.
I feel everything that y'all are saying. We have run out of time for today. I was gonna go down that rabbit hole that y'all was going down,
Yeah.
but I realized we out of time,
Oh,
so
okay.
we're
We
not
could do a
gonna do it.
snippet.
Yeah.
A snippet.
Yeah, behind the
Come on
scenes.
now. They don't know about
Okay,
nothing.
we might go live on one of these socials.
On
Which
Twitch.
one? Instagram. All right. So if you want to follow the conversation over there, maybe
On
not.
Twitch is
Talking
Nah,
about
great.
gypsy?
we probably won't.
Well, who we
I'm
talking
tired.
about? Who we talking about? Gypsy? Because we can
I
talk
don't know.
about Gypsy.
Okay, Lord.
She's not a murderer.
We can talk about Gypsy.
Oh yeah, we got
Leave
something to say.
Gypsy
She's
alone.
not.
Okay, we're done with this episode. Y'all check us out next week. We are who's here? Miss Veronica's here next week. We are going into our civic education series. Because I'm trying to remember, and you were texting me at 2:00 in the morning. So let me shut up.
Wow.
Anyway, so we are going into our civic education series. Miss Veronica Smith, who is running for District 2, will be joining us. We look forward to having her and getting into a conversation about her platform and all things her that we need to know. So join us next week right here on Facebook and YouTube. We are Black versus the Board of Education. We're going to hit y'all with the peace sign because it's time
Bye,
to go.
Jalen.
Bye,
Bye.
beautiful time.
Oh, that's right. Jalen will be joining us virtually because
will.
he's out of Sacramento this weekend. And he's feeling himself.
No.
I was gonna say something
so,
really mean.
I
yeah,
know you were.
hit him with the peace sign because we could keep going. Bye.
I'll say it off camera.
Whole mood.